Alright guys, so today this was gonna be the big reveal for the Cerwin-Vega digital series D5's, but these things have been driving me nuts, and I mean nuts. I've equipment changes, all kinds of stuff, location changes. Obviously these are an older thing. They were originally designed to be sat on the ground. I've tried them against walls, out, up, tilted. We've had a great time, but I'm still not there yet, guys. Whenever we change stuff out, we do a new video. We're going to be doing one here on the Cerwin-Vega here in the next day or two once I get it perfect. You got to let it settle in. You got to listen to it. Don't just listen to the change. Obviously there was a huge change when I finished the Ecstatics video. Put these in, listened to it that night. The next day moved stuff, tried different locations, tried different equipment. Listen. Another day went by and I heard something else, and I'll explain that more. But we're not going to do the Cerwin-Vega D5's tonight. So I figured I'd just throw out a few bits of information, send a few comments, etc. as we've been going through this process. Most of it is, you know, boy, does he sound funny, and what kind of a name is Zimmy. So I figure we'll tackle that tonight, just to get that out of the way after an evening of listening. My ears are getting pretty tired now. I want to settle on it, come back tomorrow after I've got some time and actually listen good and proper for an hour or two. Make sure I've got these D5's from Cerwin-Vega down as good as I'm going to get it. So obviously first thing everybody's noticed, I talk with an accent, right? So I live in southwestern Pennsylvania, right in the southwest corner of Pennsylvania, below Pittsburgh. Now, my accent is basically very confused, right? So I was born in Lincolnshire in England, very early 70s. When I was very young, maybe a couple of years old, we moved to Zimbabwe in southern Africa. And I did all my schooling there. So kindergarten, junior school, senior school, all the way through graduation. We lived in Harare in Zimbabwe. After I left high school, we were there for another year or so, and then we ended up moving back to England. So when I got to England, no one could understand me because I had a Southern African Dutchish accent, you know, very much from Zimbabwe, as where I grew up, right? So I stayed in England from 1990, right around there, until the year 2000, so about 10 years. In that time, my accent changed from heavy Southern African Dutch to more of a Southern English, right? We lived in East Sussex in England for the majority of those 10 years. So I had almost picked up an English accent and mostly lost my Zimbabwean accent. And then, of course, in 2000, I moved here to Pennsylvania, and I've lived here in Pennsylvania for the last 26 years. So it's now even more confused, right? So in this part of the country, normally when I open my mouth, someone will ask, where are you from? And to me, right, that's a three-part question, you know. To the guys that live in this area, most of the people in this area were born in this area, went to school in this area, and live in this area, right? To me, that's three separate continents in one question. I was born in Europe, I grew up in Africa, and now I live in America. So it's a an icebreaker, to say the least, when someone just out of the blue, when they hear you pronounce something different, goes, "Hey, where are you from?" I'm like, oh man, it's going to be a 5-minute conversation, right? Because I can't just say Pennsylvania, because they're going to like, no, you don't sound Pennsylvanian. I can't say Zimbabwean, because they'll be like, that really doesn't sound Zimbabwean. And I can't say English, because there's not that much English left anymore. So that's the story of the accent, guys. It's confused. So I don't know how you would describe it as Euro-African American. I have no idea how you would describe an accent like this, but it's the one I have. And that's just the way it is. Second thing I've been asked, why Zimmy? What's in the name, right? Obvious inference there to Zimbabwe. But the name came in about 2009, 2008. I began at that time working underground in the coal mines here, huge coal mining industry and coal mining area. So I went underground. I got my red hat. I don't know if you can see it over there, guys. That's my red hat. You have to wear that in West Virginia mines for the first year. Here in PA mines, you wear it for the first 6 months. And that just lets everybody know, hey, this guy's a complete idiot. He has no idea what he's doing. Try to stop him from killing himself. Then, as the years went on in the coal mine, I got my black hat and then became a company man, production supervisor, and we wear a white hat for production supervisors in the company I worked with. But during my time underground, you get very close-knit with your production crews, and everybody pretty much picks up a nickname of some kind, whether they like it or not. And everybody was always asking me, you know, why the accent, what kind of accent. So I would go through that whole story again. And before you know it, they started just calling me Zimbabwe, and that got shortened to Zimmy. So since then, the people that know me, especially from underground, I worked underground for about 10 years, so till 2019. So everybody that knows me, at least from that era, simply knows me as Zimbabwe or Zimmy. And it was to the point where they didn't know my normal name, you know, my given name. So when Mrs. Zimmy would need me and there was an absolute emergency, like when our basement flooded, she would have to call the bunker at the coal mine, which is like the communication. We had a little communications set up there where people could call in and get a hold of people that were working on the coal face, you know, in an emergency. So they handled all the communication. Whenever Mrs. Zimmy needed me, she had to call and ask for Zimmy, because if she called and asked me by my given name, they would say, who are you talking about? But as soon as she said Zimmy, everybody knew who that was, and they could get a hold of me. So just something to throw some fun out there, guys, as to why I talk like this and why Zimmy. As I said, I'm disappointed, guys. I can't make this Sherwin Vega video tonight, but over the next day or two, we'll get this taken care of. Just working through all the little things to try to make sure I try to get as much out of these as possible. These are rebuilds, so completely redid the cabinets, braced them, etc., made them solid, and replaced most of the drivers, and then took the mids back out and put them back in. And we've had all kinds of fun trying to get these things as perfect as we can. I just love getting older stuff. These are mid-'80s older stuff, and just playing to death with them to try to see if we can make it as enjoyable as you know, and get the maximum enjoyment out of them. That's the whole point of this, guys. The whole thing that I love is to be able to sit and listen to music for a few hours and not be able to concentrate on the speakers, right? I want to be able to concentrate on the actual music instead of, oh man, that level doesn't seem right, or why is that a slight echo there, or, you know, why is the imaging suck? Although those are huge questions, and you can dedicate an entire life to that. For me, it's not all about the spec and the piece of equipment. I just want to get the whatever piece of equipment it is. These were given to me, which is why I spent a little bit of money on trying to make them as good as possible. These were given to me, and I spent time and money trying to make them as good as I can get them without going crazy, right? These are mid-80s. You can probably buy them on a used website right now for magic number $2.99, right? Same as the triangles, probably. If you haven't seen any of my other videos, check out the talk on the triangles, two-parter, and then a three-part talk on the ecstatics behind me. And then, as I said, we'll try to get through these Cerwin-Vegers once I'm 100% comfortable that I can describe what I feel. Because there's magic in these old pieces of equipment, guys. There's absolute magic in this stuff. And if you can come in here after a hard day's work and just grab a beer if you're, or whatever it is that you like, a hot drink, and just sit in the chair and within 5 minutes be able to just take your mind off everything and just sit there for an hour and absolutely just drift away and love it. That's the biggest thing I can try to express to anybody that's even interested in stereo, right? Most people like music. It's not that the fact that they don't like music, but they just don't understand why anybody would spend time and money on big pieces of furniture when they can have it all on their iPhone or their little box, you know what I mean, Wi-Fi box. They don't understand there's pure magic in these things, and it can bring the music you listen to. It can double or triple that enjoyment. It really can. So, sorry about the review today, guys. We're not going to be talking about the ZimmySoundsOff. That's going to be coming up here in the next day or so, and it's going to be awesome. And I'll be able to go through everything I've done, tried to do, tried to make better, and where we ended up, because that's part of the journey, right? That's what it's about. Do everything you possibly can to get the most enjoyment out of something. It's a true labor of love, but I tell you what, it's worth every second you put into it when it all works the way it should. So, thank you very much, guys. We'll get the Cerwin-Veger video out probably here in the next 2 days, 3 days, once I get absolute perfection, or as close as I can achieve with what we have. And as I said, if you can, guys, just jump back, check out the 2-part video on the triangles, check out the 3-part video on the ecstatics, and I'll keep trying to get more and more content as we go through the following weeks, months, etc. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Good night.